Hello, welcome. Today we have Councilman Gene Vance in the studio with us today. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, Jack.
Great to hear. Well, let's start it off. Tell everybody what ward you represent.
I represent Ward 2. I have Position 2, and that it gets a good portion of what I consider Southwest Jonesboro. It actually starts in the Flint Street area and goes to the west and then to the south of I believe it's the Huntington area, but somewhere in the center of Jonesboro, south and west. Doesn't pick up all the way out to say the Ridge Point area, but somewhat short of that. But it does cross the bypass into the Rankin Addition and some of those areas.
Okay, all right. And how long have you served on the city council?
On this particular term, I've served 3 years. I did serve 4 years from '93 to '96.
Okay.
Previously on the council.
So roughly about 7 years.
Roughly,
so
I'm starting my 8th year.
There you go. All right. And let's go all the way back to the 90s when you first ran for council. What was that calling? What led you to run in the first place?
Well, I have, I guess you might say, ingrained in me a desire to be involved. It was something my father taught me. My father was always very much involved, and I've always been involved in chamber and other community activities. What some people know about me and some people don't, I have spent nearly 20 years on the Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Adjustments, volunteering for city activities. And so my desire, of course, I was encouraged by some back in the 90s and encouraged by some again in 2006 to run for the council, and I just felt obligated to give back to my community some of the gifts that I've been blessed with in the past.
Sure. Now, was there anything in particular that made you run? And you obviously quit after you didn't rerun after your first term, and then come back in 2006.
I can really explain the reason I didn't rerun in '96 is that I was in the process of moving wards. And we had a good representative in that particular ward, and I just didn't feel like it was there. I have never run for elective office or served on a volunteer or appointed board because I had an axe to grind or a specific reason. I didn't come on the council with any specific reasons that I needed to go change anything.
Okay.
I just wanted Jonesboro to be a better place, be the best place it possibly could be, and again to share some of the God-given talents that I feel like I have in the position that I currently am serving.
Well, that's usually the best motivation to have.
Yes.
So during this term, over the past 3 years, what has kept you getting up every morning and serving the citizens of Jonesboro? Is there anything in particular that you strive for?
Well, one of the things that really comes to mind that is very important that, as I said in an interview in the newspaper not long ago, that people really don't realize, and that is in order to have the successes that Jonesboro has in bringing in the industry and bringing in the new retail, the new restaurant facilities, just to get our garbage picked up, just to have police protection. There are so many behind-the-scenes infrastructure needs that have to be fulfilled. Those are easy to forget unless your house is flooding, unless there's a hole in the street in front of your house or on your way to work. But infrastructure is very, very important, and I feel like that's a commitment. Of course, being in the construction business, I guess maybe I recognize those things somewhat more than others, but the need to make sure that our infrastructure is not only maintained well, not only up to date, but that we're striving to have our infrastructure to where it can be expanded and added on to for future growth and development in the city.
Sure. And let's go all the way back to 93 or in the 90s. From then till today, you've actually seen a lot of this growth and this the outgrowth of our infrastructure and the big boom that we've had over the past 5 or 6 years. What's your interpretation of that?
Well, I think that Jonesboro is in the going in the right direction. I think Jonesboro has succeeded. Some will remember that in '92 was the first time that we actually had a sales tax election for a street program, which failed. Another alderman and I, who were basically on opposite sides of that particular question, met the day after election on the street, and both of us had the same conclusion. You know, the sales tax was defeated, the street program was defeated, but we still had the same traffic problems that day that we had the day before. So
Right.
we started working, and we had a lot of people that really felt like we were not going in the right direction, that we were coming back too quick after defeat. But we got to working and helped put together a program that allowed another election to take place, and we did between $40 and $50 million worth of street improvements in the city of Jonesboro in the 90s, which that infrastructure, the improvements of Main Street, Nettleton, and I can't remember where all that, there was a lot of money spent, but all that money went into street development, street redevelopment, and street improvements within the city of Jonesboro, and it has really reaped benefits for the city and our growth.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, and you know, I'm not advocating that that's something that we need to look at again right today, but it is something that we've got to. As I said earlier, you not only have to look at maintaining what you've got, not only make sure you're up to date, but you've got to have the vision to look in the future, because there are more and more restaurants and retail and industry looking at Jonesboro.
Absolutely.
And I think that industrial look, the need to have that job base is ever present in our world today.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned the future and looking and planning for this future. What do you see for the future of Jonesboro?
I see Jonesboro as continuing its growth pattern, and the reason I say that is our citizens in Jonesboro and Craighead County are progressive when it comes to being willing to bite the bullet, to pay the bill, and to get what is needed. Prime example of that is the most recent and the last 2 or 3 sales tax elections we've had in this area. Those sales tax, when presented with a need, our citizens step up to the plate and accept the fact that we need to do that. And I think that speaks well for the citizens of Jonesboro, that they're not just sitting there wanting somebody to do something for them. They're saying, okay, we're willing to help if you're willing to lead. And that's Jonesboro is a great place. I would not want to live anywhere else.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Councilman Gene Vance, thank you for being here with us today. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for watching Channel 24.